what we just saw this countdown is I do record all of my classes in here. So if you do find yourself being gone, you will notice that if you've logged into the D2L course, you're going to see at the very top, it's going to see lecture notes and lecture videos. And in there, each class, anything that I've recorded or written on the screen up here is going to show up there at the very beginning. So I wouldn't say that that's your ticket to miss class or whatever, because you already have enough stuff to listen to or whatever with the online portion of this course. But rather, it's something that if the roads are bad or whatever like today, or you have a sick kid or something, then you don't need to worry about missing everything, because at least some of that stuff will be there. So once you get into the room, again, the name that you're going to enter is going to be your 1 or 2 letter symbol. So go to ChemLancer. There we go. And now answer the first question on here. Oh, you did answer. No, nobody's answered. There we go. So just want to see what you've read in my emails that I've sent out to you, or what you've seen on D2L thus far. How are we going to be doing the labs for this course? So get your answers locked in, and we're going to count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, they aren't going to be done here. So the labs, if you read the syllabus and read the course description, the notes that were in here, the labs for this course are going to be done at home using the lab kit that you have there. So the laboratory portion, that's the one thing unique about this hybrid portion of the course. Many times when you take a hybrid course, the lecture portion is online, and then the lab portion is one that you show up on campus for. For this course, the lecture portion is going to be on campus, and the laboratory portion is at home. So we can use this piece maybe to ask questions about the lab, but the labs will not be done here. The labs are going to be done at home. All right, let's see what else you may have read about this course. If you've read the stuff on D2L or read the syllabus that's been posted here now for the past week, the lecture portion for the hybrid version of this course, and that's the one that you're in, meets for 2 hours per week. If you were in the fully seated version of this course, how many hours per week would we be meeting? Your answers locked in. We'll count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it would be 3 hours a week. So what we have here is a 1 hour reduction in our lecture time as well. So that means that we'll try to cover about 2 hours of what we normally cover in the seated version, and the extra 1 hour you pick up on your own, plus whatever additional studying that would have required outside of class as well. I also like to try to get a feeling as to what the background is of the students in here. So first one I would say is, have you previously taken a chemistry course at any point in your life? And we'll check out the answers here. It looks like, okay, about 2/3 of you have, the other 1/3 have not. How many of you are planning a STEM related career? In STEM, anybody know what STEM stands for?
Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Exactly. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So how many are planning a career in one of the STEM disciplines? And so we'll check this out. Looks like only about 1/4 of you are, or 1/3 of you are. Okay, how many are planning a career in the health sciences? So that'd be like a doctor, nurse, dentist, veterinarian, pharmacy, or such. And we'll check this out. Okay, and most of you are not. And then how many are planning, or how many are taking this course just to satisfy a gen ed requirement? Okay, and we'll check this out as well. It looks like, yeah, so about 6 of you are here probably doing that. All right, so this is one of the ways that I use this tool throughout here. And since we do have a small class, rather than going through in groups and introducing ourselves, we're going to get to know each other very well in here. Why don't we just go around and introduce ourselves? We'll start up front here. And Alina, what are you planning to do, Alina, with your?
I'm
Not sure. Well, I'm not sure.
I'm Lindsay Anderson, and like career-wise, I plan to go into the business field.
Okay.
I'm Katie, and usually I'm a forensic scientist.
All right. So Katie, forensic scientist. So let me see, because I already forget here. I'm supposed to pay attention. So Katie and see. Lindsay. Alina. So Katie. Oh my gosh. You know, yeah. I have a lot of A names with blonde hair, but that's okay. We'll get them down. And you are?
Simon, and I plan on doing the welding program at another tech.
Oh, cool. So, Jordan, do you have Jay as your teacher over there?
Mm-hmm.
No?
I haven't started yet.
Haven't started it?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna finish my associates first, transfer over.
Yeah, he was a welding instructor. He came in and took some classes from me while he was teaching over there. So, very good. All right.
I'm Derek, and as of right now, I'm just getting the general stuff.
Okay. Derek or Derek?
Derek.
Derek. Okay.
And I'm Jeremy. I'm planning to be a financial advisor.
Okay. We've spoken?
I've had the class before.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a great thing I'm back, but I'm back.
Okay.
So-
Okay. Yeah.
I'm David. I'm going for my computer science degree.
Okay.
I'm Don, and plan on to do health services management.
Okay. Home services
Health
management?
services management.
Okay. Very good.
I'm Dewey, and I'm a pharmacist.
Pharmacist. All right. So you got definitely of all of us probably a lot more chemistry, forensic science, a lot more chemistry down the road, and welding. Well, yeah. I mean, there's chemistry with that. My uncle was a welder and everything, and he was a closet mineralogist and whatever else. Always asking me the chemistry questions. All right. So let's see. I had planned on doing some sort of syllabus activity in groups, but since we don't have the rest of the class here, and maybe the rest of them are reevaluating their status in the course, I know some of you have already completed the syllabus quiz. So rather than getting into groups, let's just kind of go through this one page at a time and look at them and see if we can kind of point out the highlights of each page and any questions you might have. Let's look over the first page here. Any highlights on the first page? Anything? If we were to pull out like 1 or 2 highlights off of each page, what would we pick off the first page? Yeah.
Office hours.
Office hours, sure. And so the office hours here for Friday are going to be
10 to 10:50.
10:50. It's going to be right after class. So if we go through stuff in class, then you'll know that I'll always be available right after class and deal with any questions you might have for office hours. And I am here throughout the week, even though nothing is listed here on Wednesday. I am on campus usually all day Wednesday. Monday, yeah, because I do work long days here, I often don't come to campus on Monday. So the office hours listed there for Monday are online only. Okay, let's go to the next page. And page 2, see if there's anything, give you a chance to kind of look through that. I know I've dealt with some of these questions by email already. And some of you have already taken the syllabus quiz, so you're experts already. Okay, how about a highlight off of the second page here? Here's the first page. Anything here on page 2? Okay, what are the required materials for this course? You need calculator, you need textbook, and you need Mastering Chemistry. And probably running over to the next page. So those are the 3 things you need. And then you do need a computer that runs either Windows or Mac OS at home, and that's going to be to run, perform the labs in here. If we have the Chromebooks, like these are the 2 here, the Chromebooks, the software we use does not run on the Chromebook. So it will have to be either Windows or Mac OS computer with an open USB port. And that should have been in your class notes when you registered for the course. Lab materials required. If you've not been down to the bookstore there, one thing I will say is that if you were down in the bookstore before this week, in addition to the lab kit down there, they had a lab packet. That was up there by mistake. I don't know how it got up there, but all the lab instructions for this course are delivered online through D2L. So there's no lab manual printed for this course, and if you did get the printed one, return it, because it's not one that is required for this class. Okay. When you write up your lab reports, what are we supposed to be using? This is page 3 now. What are we supposed to use to write up our lab reports? Microsoft Word, exactly. So all the documents, and I'll show you that here. This is the one thing that the students in the online course don't get to see, but let's see if I can go to the course here itself. If you come into the hybrid course, go to materials, there's a content section here. If you click on the content section, we did talk a little bit about the introduction. By the way, normally here I have a little introduction piece that I go through if this is fully seated. I've skipped that. So for you, I'm telling you right now that when you go into D2L, you should be completing these things in sequence. You should have whatever it is that checks off your mark that you've completed it. If you've not completed it, you are missing some essential pieces that are part of this course. So if we look at first day course materials, this is some of the stuff that I'm skipping today that I would ordinarily go through if this was fully seated. You're going to see a video introduction of myself. If you would click on that, you can go through and just see me with a little less hair. But you can go through in the videos.
Greetings,
Oh my
and
God.
welcome to the world of chemistry. My name is Lance Lund,
So
and I
have
will
a
be
bunch
your
of
professor
videos
for this course.
that are on there. And as you go through them, there's some other ones here where I do some demos. And if you go through these, again, these are demos that I typically do in here, but again, because we have 1 hour reduction in seat time, there are things that I've set aside here for you to work on and go through. But we go back kind of to the table of contents here and go to the labs. The labs are going to be found all the way at the very bottom of this navigation. So all of the lecture pieces are up here, and the lab content piece is down here. Now what I've done for you in this course here is that I've arranged them by exam topic, and what you are seeing actually in this course is the fully online piece. So some of this stuff here is going to be a repetition, and I haven't quite figured out yet what piece is going to be the stuff that we do in here and the stuff that we will be doing online. And frankly, I don't think it matters much. What I'd really like to do in here is to spend probably about half to maybe 2/3 of our time in here lecturing on some stuff, but I also want to spend then about 1/3 to 1/2 of our time in here where you're working on some problems and asking questions and such. So we use this time in here as more of a problem solving type of thing where we can work on the stuff that you were having the most trouble with. And again, that's a piece that the online students don't get. So if you're going to keep on top of things then, you'll kind of want to read ahead on that. But the labs are down here. And so if we go to the labs, you'll see that the labs here are labeled H1, H2, and so on. H stands for at-home labs. The first one is one on introduction and safety. If you click on there, then you'll have the different pieces. And again, if you just go through each one of them in order, you can go ahead and just open them up. And okay, there we go. Looks like it's just a little slow. You're going to see the pieces in here, and then your navigation bar will be right here. That'll take you on to each of the items. So it will talk about each one of these little pieces. Again, as you complete them, you'll go through, you'll read through them, do whatever the activities suggest doing in here. This will give you kind of an overview. And when we get to some of the first lab is going to be one that involves a quiz on your safety. But then when you get into the later labs, when we talk about completing them in Word, let me look at lab H2. You're going to go through and complete everything in order, and then you're going to get to the lab report page. And we get to this lab report page, then you have the option of either opening it up in Word or in PDF format. So the preferred format is the Word format. If you go ahead and open that up, your Word document is going to look something like this. It's going to give you a place where you can type in your name here, and then you'll go ahead and complete your data. And once you complete it and go ahead and answer these questions, you'll go ahead and save it, and it will be that completed document then that you've completed in Word that you are going to submit to the assignment Dropbox in D2L. So that's the reason for having the Word as a requirement. Okay, any questions that you have here yet? Okay, let's go to the laboratory page. We just talked about these here a bit. Let's see if we can figure out kind of the most important piece or pieces of information from this page. What looks to be important on the laboratory page? Well, if you want to, yes, go ahead.
If you felt it would be an activity.
Right. You don't complete it, it counts as a 0. And how many missed labs can you have?
One.
More than that.
Yeah.
It's going to be 3. You start missing 3 more labs. This is down in second to last paragraph. If you miss 3 more labs, right here, then it's going to start reducing your letter grade in the course. So you will want to be sure you complete the labs. This is a laboratory-based course. You are getting lab credit for it. And if you don't complete the labs, then you will not be able to get a passing grade in here. So we'll go through and read those. Sometimes I'll get the questions. I don't see the lab report. What do you need to do to unlock the lab report? Take the pre-lab quiz, and you have to score a minimum of
80%.
2 out of 3 to unlock the lab report. The 80% piece is to unlock all of the labs. You have to pass the H1 lab, the safety quiz. So the first one is 80% or above, and that will unlock all the labs. You won't see any labs unless you get an 80% on that safety quiz, and then after that, to unlock the lab reports, you have to score a minimum of 2 out of 3 points. Okay. Anybody know where you find the due dates for the labs in here? Yes. Yeah, the calendar. So let's locate that calendar, because that calendar's got a whole bunch of dates on it here. This is page 11. Now, if you see this online, it's color-coded, so things will stand out a little bit better. But when are all these labs due, or almost all of them? Mondays. So they're going to be due Monday at 11:59 p.m. Now, as I often tell my online students, they'll say, well, you only gave us so much time to do this. That can be further from the truth. I'm giving you right now the entire semester to do everything on here. So if you want to work ahead, if you want to have all your labs completed before exam 1, if you want to have labs 1, 2, and 3 completed by this coming Monday, that's fine. You can work at whatever pace you want to work. It's not like, again, where you come to class and we meet for lab during this period. If you want to get stuff out of the way, like I know I have a busy period coming up 2 weeks from now. For me, I want to clear everything and have that stuff done in advance. So this is where you're going to find all those due dates. Okay, let's look at assignments and quizzes. So this is page 5. Page 5. So your assignments are going to be found in the materials content section. So I'll give you a chance to read through this page here a bit. Let's look at the Mastering Chemistry. I saw 2 people have registered for Mastering Chemistry. Anybody in here registered for that already, of the people that are here? Okay. So if you're not registered for it, what is the course ID you need to register for this course? What is the course ID? Yes?
Lund S2018E.
Right. Right here. This is the course ID. If you purchase the access now, there's a couple options again if you go back here. And you would use whatever option you can get your I guess, that fits your needs. You can either get the full e-text, or you can get the paper copy. If you buy the paper version in the bookstore, it comes with Mastering Chemistry. If you buy the e-text here, option 2, this comes with Mastering Chemistry Access as well. If you come in here with your own book, then we do have an option to get a reduced Mastering Chemistry access here as well. Anything else stand out here on the assignments and quizzes page? Okay, exams. How many exams are we going to have in here? See if we can figure that out. There's going to be 4 of them, plus the final, right? And 2 of them are going to be administered in here. Which 2 are going to be in here? 1 and 3. And then 2 and 4 will be on D12, and those will be on your honor. So they're going to be, all of them are closed book, closed note in here, but they aren't proctored. But they will be on your honor. And if you do the exams 2 and 4 on D12, the total window that they're going to be open is how long? 54 hours, exactly. So you don't have 54 hours to complete it. Once you open it up, you're going to have 60 minutes to complete the test in there. And likewise in here, these will be 60-minute tests. They will be given at the beginning of the class period. So when we come in here, 8 o'clock we can start. If you want an early start, I mean, I get here about between 6 and 6:30 every day. I will, if it's something that we're unanimous with and everybody can come early, then I can get everybody here an early start if you want it. But we will be starting the second part of the hour at 9 o'clock in each case. Let's see, exams, extra credit. How much extra credit? Let's look page 7. How much extra credit is in here? Well, in the grand scheme of things, not very much. It's going to be 10 points. And then you have options to do them throughout the semester. If you look at the calendar, which again, the calendar was back here on page 11. The calendar shows a number of dates on here. If you look at this calendar, you're going to see that some of them are labeled MC. MC stands for Mastering Chemistry. The practice ones, practice 2A, 3A, 3B, and so forth, these are the ones referred to in the extra credit right here. And place you're going to find these, does that say that here? Oh yeah. Where are we going to find those extra credit problems? This is on page 7. Where do we find the extra credit? It's going to be found in right here, Mastering Chemistry. They're going to be found in Mastering Chemistry. So Mastering Chemistry has your homework quizzes. It also has these practice problems available for extra credit as well. And then the criteria for earning the extra credit are listed here. And there's other options as well. Cumulatively, I think there's probably a chance to earn about 12 or 15 points extra credit in here, but cap it at 10. Once you get up to 10, that's the most that you can earn for the course. Let's go on to the next page. Participation, discussion boards, and email. So maximum 20 points awarded over the course of the semester for your in-class and online participation. So as long as we come to class on a regular basis and participate, I had hoped to do group work today, and hopefully we'll figure out how many students will wind up in the class. I'm disappointed if there's 6 people missing and they just think we didn't need to come today, but we'll kind of get it figured out. One of the things that we will find out here is that I don't like to receive emails unless it's something personal. If you're going to email and ask questions about the content, as it says right here, the place that that's going to go is going to be on the discussion boards. And that way, if one person has the question, chances are you're asking on the behalf of your peers in the class as well. I can answer it one time over there. I don't have to answer it several times via email. And then we reserve email for the private communication. Maybe there's a death in the family, or you're sick or something, and the rest of the class doesn't care about that. But I can give you some advice on that as well. If we go on to the next page here on the textbook summary, practice and reading problems. These here are all duplicated in D2L. So if we were navigating through the table of contents right here, and we're looking at exam 1 topics, and we're looking at chapter 2, right here, what you'll have done is you'll go through chapter 2, and at the very end of this, it's going to tell you that you should be doing these practice problems for extra credit and such. They'll have these suggested problems. These suggested problems here are going to be the same ones that are listed in your syllabus right here on this page. So it's basically a repetition piece, but this just gives you a reminder of the things that you should be reviewing throughout the course. Okay? So from there, we have the calendar. We've talked about this calendar here a bit. And then if we go from the calendar on to the next page, which is keeping track of your progress in this course, all of the grades are posted onto D2L, but this will be the place for you to record your grades. And if you at any point you want to know, well, what is my grade in here? I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to tell you what your grade is in here because you can calculate it yourself. Okay? So you just, if you want to calculate a percentage, how do you always calculate a percentage? How do percentages always work? Found by taking the part and divided by the whole and times 100. Exactly. So take your points that you've earned, divide it by the points possible, and multiply that by 100. You're going to get a percentage. And then you can just figure out where you lie percentage-wise right here to determine your grade. So I don't calculate grades for you. If you want to know where you stand in the course at any point, you can calculate where your standing is yourself. And I will always update the grade book. If the grade book doesn't agree with what you have received, and it happens, I mean, I write through and I do a lot of these calculations and stuff in my head when I'm grading, and sometimes I make mistakes. But if I do, just let me know, come with your proof, and we'll fix whatever grade is in the grade book. All right, from here, let's see, academic honesty, succeeding in the course. I recommend that you read through this. Studying, if you go through here and look at how much time is recommended for your studying. If you were in a fully seated course, this is about how much time we'd be spending on each of these chapters. This would be the amount of time that you would be spending outside of class. This here tells the total amount of time that you should be spending altogether on each one of these chapters. And so that's true whether you're taking it online. I show this to my online students, so when they start talking about, wow, there's so much work in this class, well, that's because the recommendation is that for every hour you spend inside of class, you should be spending 2 hours outside of class. In our case here, because we don't have that 1 extra hour of lecture as well, you're missing that additional piece. So there's going to be 3 additional hours of lecture per week that you should be picking up on your own. That is for the 1 hour that we're missing in class, and the 2 additional hours you should be studying outside of class. So if it seems like there's a lot of work in this particular version of the course, it's because we are missing that 1 lecture hour per week, but your expectations are the same. And then for the labs, if you were in a fully seated course, our labs are 2 hours, and then students will be spending about an hour outside of lab doing pre-lab quizzes, reading up on the lab itself and so forth. So you should be setting aside about 3 hours for each lab outside of class. If you do the math on this, the total time commitment for the course is somewhere between 167 to 209 hours. We'll be spending 30 hours here in lecture. So if you subtract this, this means on your own time, somewhere between 137 to 179 hours in this course. That means that outside of here, once we leave, you'll have about 9 to 11 hours per week that you should be dedicating to this class. So any questions that you have on the syllabus? Any questions? How many have completed the syllabus quiz that are in here? Have those people gone today? All right, you two have. So the syllabus quiz consists of how many pieces? 2. What's the first piece? An email, exactly. So if you go through, the last page here tells you what's expected of you. It's to write an email. And where should that email originate from? Your student email, your school email, not your Yahoo account or Hotmail or Gmail. It's from your school email. You will want to put in an exact subject line here. If you misspell it or forget space or whatever, you're not going to get a reply from me. You need to use this exact subject line right here. Use that exact subject line, and my computer's turned on. It's going to generate to you an automatic reply. Once you get that automatic reply, then you can go on to D2L Brightspace, and you can complete the second portion of the syllabus quiz in there as well. It does appear as if I have the date wrong on here. It should be Friday, January 19th is when that syllabus quiz piece is due. Okay, any questions on the syllabus as a whole here? Any questions? All right, so let's just kind of review things. Labs are done where? Outside of class. Where are you going to find the lab reports? On D2L. And lab reports are going to be completed in Word. And in order to complete them, you need that online lab kit. In that online lab kit, if you've opened it up or anything yet, you'll see in there there's a temperature probe in there. There's, I'm trying to remember, a couple graduated cylinders. We have a small balance in there. And then I emailed out to you here last week a shopping list for you. That shopping list is going to be some household chemicals that you need to have on hand to complete those labs. Now, the household chemicals generally are ones that you should already have on hand in most cases. It would be things like salt, sugar, baking soda, vinegar, and stuff like that. So they're ordinary household chemicals, and if you use them for the lab and you have stuff left over, they're things that you can use for cooking or cleaning or whatever around the house. So they're ordinary household things. But the only thing that isn't ordinary household that many of you regularly consume is that their very last lab, H14, and you need to have a head of red cabbage in there. And for that, since you're meeting here in class, might be something where I could even buy a head of red cabbage and just we can divide it up into chunks so you can take that home. But I need to be reminded of that, and that way we're not, I often think that when my online students go, we get to that point in the course, there's a big run on red cabbage at the grocery stores, you know, whatever else. But in here at least I can probably get the one head and we can divide it up how many ever ways we need to at that point. All right, well let's, if there's no questions, let's take a break and let's resume in here at 9 o'clock. We'll try to take a 10-minute break here every Friday. And what time that break will happen, I don't know. Usually be somewhere between 8:45 and 9 o'clock, but we'll resume here today at 9 o'clock.